Are you looking to build your business using Instagram? Well, in this video, we look at 5 ways you can build your brand with Instagram stories. Hi, and welcome to Weekly Brand Tips, brought to you by Elements Brand Management. Weekly videos designed to help you unlock your brand's potential so you can stand out from the competition and create impact. Please subscribe using the button below this video, and if you hit the bell notification, you'll be notified every time a new video drops. Instagram is a great way to build brand awareness, and the story feature is especially good at building trust and loyalty amongst your audience. Instagram stories provide you a way to give your audience a snippet of what you do on a day-to-day basis, a window into what you believe as a brand, and a snapshot of your process. It can be a really good way to connect with your audience and show them what your brand and what your business is all about. There are lots of ways you can use Instagram stories to build your brand and grow your business. I'm going to focus on 5 that help you to really build your brand and grow that brand awareness. Number 1, customer engagement. So a great way to build your brand and grow your awareness and really connect with your audience on Instagram stories is using it for customer engagement. You can use the question asking feature to get feedback about your product or service. You can get ideas about content from your audience, or you can even use it as a surveying tool to survey parts of your brand. You can also use the polling feature to sort of test future product ideas. Maybe if you have different flavors or different types of product, you can do a poll with your audience to find out what potential future products that you can release. You can do polls based on types of content you want to produce. You can do polls based on just general questions regarding to your sort of industry and your brand. These can be serious, these can be fun, but they're just all generating customer engagement. And what you can do with both the questions and the poll feature in Instagram stories is share them back to your story, and you kind of then highlight particular audience members who've done a good answer to a question or a result to a poll. And that gives this sort of feedback loop. The audience is inputting into your brand, they're kind of helping your brand, they're answering questions, and then they're getting their questions or their responses in the form of a poll shared back to your story, and it makes them feel invested in the brand and part of it, and it really starts to build a relationship with your audience and makes them feel connected to your brand. Number 2, user generated content and customer testimonials. Now, nothing builds trust faster these days than social proof. Now, whether that is reviews or testimonials or user-generated content. Now, sharing testimonials or reviews in your Instagram stories is a really great way to build trust, indicate that social proof, and also it can be the one thing, maybe it's the thing that your audience has been waiting for to turn them from a sort of a fan to an actual paying customer. And it sometimes is, it's the thing that you need. That's why people search for reviews, they look on Trustpilot and different platforms like that. They want to know that your product or service is actually what it says it is. You deliver on the promise you give as a brand, and your product or service is actually something that's worth investing in. So if you share testimonials or reviews to your stories, what you're doing is you're letting your audience know that you deliver on the promise that you give as a brand. User-generated content is similar to testimonials and reviews, but it's a bit more lifestyle. So it's more of a sort of a lifestyle type post that you can post to your stories, but it's still as authentic and as powerful as a testimonial or a review. It's just done in a slightly different way. And what it does is it allows your audience to almost see somebody, either if it's an apparel brand wearing your particular product, so that they can sort of envisage themselves wearing this product, or potentially if it's a product or a service that helps them overcome a problem. You know, user-generated content that helps people to see what you've done for them or where they've got to because of your involvement. What that can do is it can spur somebody else on to taking that first step. Now, this is really powerful for brand building, and what it does is it gives a aspirational example for your audience of the role that your brand plays in their life and also in other people's lives. So by using that user-generated content, what it does is it helps people to see the role that you could play in their life. Number 3, the real brand. So Instagram stories are a great way to let your audience see behind the curtain and see what the real brand is, what you do on a day-to-day basis. You know, some of the best things that people sort of watch on DVDs and things like that, is the behind the scenes sort of commentary and those shots of what actually goes on into making some of the films and TV series that we love. So give your audience a chance to see behind the curtain, see the real brand, see what you do on a day-to-day basis. As these are short 24-hour snippets that you sort of take, and you can save them if you want to a highlight, we'll talk about that later on, or you can just let them go into your archive. These particular stories, when you're looking behind the curtain, it can be anything. It could be client meetings, it could be Zoom calls you've had, it could be product development, it could be operations, you could be on the factory floor, it might be shots of your office, it could be your home working environment. All these things can build up, and what it does is it helps to, you're looking behind the curtain, but you're almost tearing down the curtain. You're tearing down a wall between yourself as a brand or a business and your audience, and you're allowing them in. You're allowing them into that kind of inner sanctum to be connected to you on a sort of a slightly more intimate level, which builds connection and it builds trust and loyalty. Comment below with a yes if you're already using Instagram stories, and let us know how you use them to build your brand. Number 4, influencer content. Instagram has taken influencer marketing sort of up a notch in the last few years. And if you've gone to the trouble to sort of work with an influencer, why would you only use that content in posts or posts on their feed? You want to be using that in your stories as well, and in their stories. So you can do different things. You can get them to post stories on how they use your product or service. They can do posts which are kind of static. So those posts are always there on the feed promoting that product or service. But the stories are really good because you can do a sort of a bit more fast-paced. It doesn't have to be so polished, and those influencers can use their Instagram stories and then you can repost on yours. And what they can do is they can do a snapshot of using your product in day-to-day life, or they can do a little video entry of how they've used it, how it's helped them, how it's improved their life. All these things are great to use those influencers that you're actually already working with, but leveraging stories to develop that relationship even further. You can also build out branded story posts that you can get them to share, which is another great way to sort of be introduced to their audience and also show your audience that you are connecting with these individuals. Now, this is another powerful way to build trust with your audience and also to build brand awareness and reach more people through that influencer marketing channel. Number 5, highlights. So one of the features connected to Instagram stories on your profile is highlights. So you might have seen these. These are sort of the circles that you have on sort of big accounts, and you can add a cover to them. So you can design a custom cover if you'd like. And what they are sort of a collection of stories behind those particular circles. And you can categorize these into different sections that are based around your brand. And every time you add a new story post, you'll be given the option to add this to one of your highlights, and you can create new ones at any time. You can create as many as you want, I believe, but it's always worth sort of categorizing them quite cleverly. What we use is what we call brand pillars. So it's a way to showcase your brand. If you think about it, when people see your profile and they look at it and they see your story highlights, they see areas of your brand. So if you have different product lines, maybe that's a certain type of product, another type of product, another type of product. You can categorize those through the story highlights on your profile. Another way of doing this is using different content types, different media. So it might be podcasts, videos, blogs. Another way of doing it is you could look at different types of work that you do. So maybe you work with different types of clients, and those could be in there as those highlights. So if you go back to point 1, if you're sharing testimonials and reviews, you could actually have a highlight that is geared just to your testimonials and reviews. So it's something that people can look at in one place. You'll have all of those testimonials, they'll be able to slide through them. So at Elements Brand Management, what we've done is we've split up our highlights into our branded pillars. So we have a collection of our podcast episodes that we call Brand Talk. That's one of our highlights. We have a collection of our videos, shortened versions of these videos that are on YouTube, and we call those Brand Tips. We have a collection of quotes that we just have as quotes, and we have a few other highlights that kind of tie into our brand pillars. So we use it as a way to, at a glance, give our audience, or new visitors as well, a chance to see some of the main pillars of our brand. The good thing about story highlights on your profile is they're permanent. So It's a good way, if you've done a story, sometimes it's nice to let stories disappear and just go into your archive. You can always go back and see them in your archive and reuse them. But sometimes it's nice with certain ones that you do that you want to keep, say if it's a testimonial or a particular story post you've done about a product, or say an influencer campaign that you want to save. You can add those to a highlight and you know that it's there and that content is sort of forever accessible by your audience. Number 6, bonus point, tell your brand's story. So Instagram stories are called that for a reason. They're about tying individual moments together to tell a story. So building out a narrative, particularly around an event or a particular day in the life of your business, or maybe over time, that narrative of your audience seeing them on a daily basis, you're building out a story of your brand. Now it's important obviously to make your audience the hero and not your brand, but there are ways to tell your brand story without directly spelling it out for them. You don't have to say about, we've been in business for this long, we do this, we do this. You can talk about your brand in a way that's more holistic. You can use your brand values to tell a story. So for instance, one of our brand values is constantly evolving. And that's to do with lifelong learning, that's to do with adapting to new market changes and trends, and always be ready to adapt, learn new things, and sort of pass that on to our audience. So that's one of the things that we try to do as one of our brand values, constantly evolving. So what we do is, in our stories, to get this across as a value, is we don't just put up a story that says constantly evolving on it. What we do is we share information that we come across that we find useful. We talk about changes in market, changes in trends, changes in things that are going on, and we try and help our audience to unlock their brand's potential in whatever medium that takes, whether that's through our podcast, which is talking to business leaders and brand builders, whether we're talking about our videos in this medium, where we're trying to deliver short, concise content that helps people to do certain things, certain particular topics, or it might be through blog posts, which are sort of more long form. Everything that we do aims back to that idea of unlocking our audience's brand's potential. So one of our values, constantly evolving, is something that we can put into our stories. And over time, what that does is our audience will feel that. They might not know it's constantly evolving, they might not know exactly what it is, but what they will feel is that we are moving with the times. We are a company that is trying to educate them, trying to help them to develop their brand and move forward and help them in any way that we can. And also, we're a company that's not afraid to learn from multiple different areas and bring that in and be humble enough to sort of go, well, this is a great idea. It's not something that we've come up with. It's a great idea that we can pass on to you. So you can use your Instagram stories to take your brand values that you've put together and reflect these in ways that, again, not spelling it out. So it doesn't have to be literal, but by what you post, you can get those across in a way that your audience will feel that and connect with it. So you can do this for every value that you have as a brand. So if one of your brand values is around creativity, some sort of form of creativity, you can share things that potentially is your own work that is creative, or it can be things that inspire you as a brand or a business to be creative. So it could be other people's work. It could be, if you are a design agency, there might be things like architecture or art or music, different things that inspire you to be creative and help you get that inspirational side of things coming out in you. And that could be something that you can share in your stories, which helps your audience tie that to your brand and understand that a bit more about your ethos. This builds up associations for your audience to your brand. There are many more ways to use Instagram stories to build your brand, whether that is selling directly in Instagram stories, linking out to content, or using story ads. Before you begin to build your brand through Instagram stories and on social platforms, you need to understand what your brand is all about. So we put together a free PDF workbook you can download, which is all about defining your brand. It asks you a couple of questions that helps you to define your brand so you can start the process of really using Instagram stories to build that brand. If you want that PDF, there is a link in the description below. If you've enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, videos come out weekly and they're designed to help you unlock your brand's potential so you can stand out from the competition and create impact. Have a great week, catch up soon, and keep those brands unified.